Yo,
Hey, good morning. What is going on with you?
spent 3 hours in the hospital yesterday.
Oh my
Give me a
God.
sec. Redislocated my shoulder.
How'd you manage to do that?
I leave that to the archives.
So like it popped out?
Yeah, it popped because I had surgery on it. Once it pops out, it doesn't pop back in again.
Right.
So it's unbelievably painful.
Yeah, I can
But
imagine.
it's an interesting kind of pain. It kind of lives outside of you. You know
Yeah.
it hurts. You know you're screaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, so went to the hospital. They had to. It's called recess. No, um, it's something to do. I find the word very funny because it's the same term. Oh, reduce. They have to reduce it.
Oh.
It's like a reduction in the kitchen.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but that means they put you out completely,
Yeah.
and then do whatever magic because it's not possible to do it on a awake person.
Wow.
So here we are.
So you were knocked right out and then they put it back in
And then you come to and you're fine
and then you gotta take it easy for till it goes away.
for a while. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I thought I was having a bad day.
What happened to you?
Well, this morning I drove my daughter to work and my wife was leaving right after us and I got
Yeah.
home and her car was still in the driveway. Anyway, her car won't start. And we tried to boost it. So now the tow truck's coming to take it to the dealership. We think just the battery's dead, but like she had it in a week and a half ago to get the transmission replaced. So
How
anyway,
old is the car?
it's only a 2017. It's got 120,000 kilometers on it.
And you already replacing transmission?
Yeah. Well, the transmission failed. So
Oh no.
the when she first took it in, they said, "Oh, it's going to be like $6,500." And then they said, "But your warranty's just kind of expired, so we'll see." So anyway, it only ended up costing her like $1,300. But still, it's we all just take our cars for granted that you get in, turn the key, and you drive away. So,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, she was supposed to be at work today, but it's not like the world isn't going to fall apart if she doesn't make it in. But
No.
you know,
No, it's all gonna be fine.
yeah.
It will be fine.
Tomorrow's our 20th anniversary, actually. So I'm looking forward to
Oh,
going for a nice steak dinner at the Keg tomorrow night.
you're a spring chicken, basically.
Oh yeah.
We celebrated the 20th anniversary last year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was not as we expected it to be. We wanted to be like fly somewhere to Europe, but
Yeah.
we all know that last year derailed many of those plans.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've been talking about going to London next summer
UK?
because the course that I'm on, the last week is a live. You can go there live,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in July. So I was thinking about it, and I was talking to my wife saying, like, maybe we should plan a family trip to London around the course. I'll do the course for the 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can spend some time in London. We can go to Paris. We can go to, I don't know. You're in Europe, so I mean, within 2 or 3 hours, you can be a lot of places.
That is actually absolutely true. You can do whatever the heck you want. And that's why they have so many languages. Somebody asked me, you know how European road signs are all symbols?
No, I've never really
No?
driven there.
Let me see.
So yeah, so that's our big plan for next year.
That is a good plan. That is a good plan.
Haven't figured out how to pay for it yet, but we'll that'll Come.
Cross that bridge when we get there, right? Oh, if only I could share my screen.
Yes. See how rusty we are?
So it's basically a collection. That's not a good one. Like these are the road signs. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can make it bigger.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you see this?
Yeah.
So you have to know what each one of this means. Some of them are more or less intuitive.
Yeah.
Some quite far from it. So we were talking about the fact, like, why would Europe have such a crazy amount of symbols that you actually need to know what they mean?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because there's so many different languages.
Right.
So if in Canada you can just put exit 88, well, that just goes for only a portion of the population.
Right. Interesting. Well, I was talking to Olga when I was in Netherlands in Den Bosch. I got lost like every day. Every time I went out for a walk, I got lost. And she was saying that the because it's like a spider web, right? Like there's the central.
Yeah, it's mostly it's all radial.
Yeah. And but she was saying, and I don't know if this is true or not, that the little cities and towns are designed that way to be confusing for foreigners because of invasion, and like it's easier to defend something when people don't know where the hell they are.
Well, there's truth
than a quadrant system like we have here, which is like, it's all a grid.
Yeah, there's truth to that, and it's also because back in prehistoric years, when cities were built around castle and the surrounding wall.
Yeah.
And then they would expand and they would build another wall. So it was always a circle that was expanding.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah, I got lost. So, and then of course, because I couldn't read any of the signs because they're all in Dutch, and I've got my phone, and for whatever reason, like Google Maps, it doesn't orient itself necessarily to the way you're pointed. So I would get myself turned around, and I don't know. There's one time I was looking for the hotel, and literally it was like 10 feet that way. And I walked for another 30 minutes in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm never going on a hike with you, friend.
Yeah, I'll go with it. I was navigationally challenged in Netherlands. Anyways, so what time was this, in the middle of the night or the middle of the day you were at the hospital?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, so that's not too bad. I assume the hospital wasn't very busy.
No, it wasn't well organized, and I mean, I don't necessarily know how it works, because when you end up in emergency and you expect like, oh my God, this fucking hurts.
Yeah.
Somebody save me. At the same time, there are another 5 beds with people sometimes with way worse conditions than you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the doctors and nurses who work there, I mean, God love them. How they do it, I do not know.
Yeah.
How do they endure every single day of just seeing people in pain, agony, and trauma?
Yeah.
That's all you see.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough gig.
I think tough gig doesn't even begin to describe what that gig is like. Yeah. But they were very helpful, and they let me be in 3 hours. We were out of there, which is very fast.
That's good. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, cat, get off! My cat's trying to get into the room.
Oh. So did you? I guess you didn't get anything done yesterday much.
I did not get anything done yesterday. After the sedation, I barely started functioning as a human being by nightfall.
Yeah.
Because you're so groggy, it's like.
Yeah. Why? I was reworking my leadership for teens course yesterday, and I was laughing because it was like, why am I saying, okay, welcome to module 4 and see you in module 5. Like all the lessons that we've learned about stating, referring to other modules of the course.
That was my mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just going to murder my cat. Cat, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, cat? Yeah, I remember how painful it was to redo all of the material when I realized that it's not going to flow in that sequence.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's just a few minor editing things, so that's fine. Go ahead.
Remember how I was pleased that my intro screen always had like episode 1 of lesson 1.
Yeah.
That was a bigger bitch. Like voiceover, you can just dub over.
Yeah.
But this thing, I really physically had to change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I also started thinking about the idea that we talked about yesterday with the Trello board.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about that for other applications like the building resume building in Leadership for Teens. Like you could put all the tasks on a Trello board, interview simulator. Like if you could have like a finding your next job Trello board that kind of walk them through different steps of the process, things like that. Anyway, I think I was just thinking about other applications for that idea that I think are pretty good ideas to try to explore.
Do you ever have a feeling of an imposter syndrome? I mean, it's one thing to talk about finding a job, but neither you or I have been able to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess, there's times when I lack confidence, like when I'm doing coaching and things, I think like, what am I doing? Like do it. But then I don't know, I have good conversations. I've had feedback from people like in my peer coaching that says I'm good. And people in my peer coaching too are like asking me. One lady is like, oh, what books do you recommend about the 3 principles? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know any books. I just learned about this stuff like in March through this course. And she was like, oh my God, I thought you'd been studying this for years kind of thing. I'm like, nope, just a quick learner, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think everybody comes and goes with that kind of thinking, but for me, I don't know. I tend to have more my problem is I'm overconfident versus not confident enough. So like even when I went to meet at that manufacturing plant a couple of weeks ago, and the lady comes in and she's like, do you think we should just invest in an ERP system, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, there's pros and cons. And I didn't know even what she was talking about. So I can bullshit my way.
But sometimes actually there are times when people they're asking for your opinion, but they're not actually asking for your opinion.
Yeah.
So when you come up with a response, they find it satisfactory because it feels like they heard an opinion.
Yeah.
And if it jives with what they want to do, great. If it doesn't, well, let's just chalk it up to
yeah. Well, it's funny because these are some of the not really, I guess they are tactics, but things I'm trying to learn from observing Jamie. Like it's like it's not really a script, but it's kind of an example of a conversation about coaching when somebody's like, oh, so what's coaching all about? It's like, well, coaching covers a lot of things. Like, what have you heard, or what's your impression of coaching? Where you just kind of like turn it back onto people in terms of trying to figure out what it is that's their opinion, so that you can understand where they're coming from better before you just jump into answering their questions. Like you basically, it's like a politician kind of thing, like answer a question with a question.
That's true.
Anyway, I was reworking a lot of my pricing yesterday too, trying to figure out, because like for my Leadership for Teens, I'm thinking I'm going to give away the resume building part and then try to upsell into the Leadership for Teens course, and then have a bundle that if they buy that plus intro to grocery retail plus interview simulator. It's like a stupid low price for all three. Something along those lines. I'm noodling around. Like $39.99 for the leadership for teens on its own, or $49.99 for all three things, and then positioning it as, you know, if you worked a 4-hour shift at minimum wage, that pays for the package.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. I'm waiting.
Do teens realize that they need this?
No, well, they don't need. They need what they need is the resume part. So, and then the way I'm positioning the other pieces is that you're basically paying for bullet points on your resume / experience / talking points in an interview. Right? Like part of I did some scripts yesterday for some add-ons to my course that talks about, you know, a scenario. Let's assume you've never done anything, like you've never worked, you've never volunteered, you've never played sports, you don't do well in school, you don't go to any clubs, you basically don't do anything. So you got nothing. So I talked about, you know, well, what if you are an avid reader? What if you're a video gamer? What if you're like, I did 3 or 4 scenarios and said, like, here's skills that you could put on your resume that you have from those things. But then I also said, you know, let's look at our core skill list. So the first one was communication. Google communication. There's so much free stuff you can watch online. You can take free courses. So then you can put on your resume, I took a communications course, and then you can articulate, here's what you learned in it. So if you buy Leadership for Teens course, you can put on your resume that you completed online leadership course, and then you can talk about the concepts.
Interesting.
You know, that kind of stuff. Like if you buy Introduction to Grocery Retail, it's applicable to any retail position really, but you're learning about the 4 P's of marketing and how they relate to a retail environment. So again, you put that on your resume. So for you know, for $50, you can learn how to get content for your resume and buy basically bullet points to put on it. So you go from having nothing to a resume and it'll come with some wording and scripts, if you want to call them that, for how to answer questions. But so what did you learn in this leadership course? Well, I learned this, and this. Anyway,
you sell it really well. You do sell it really well.
So, the problem is you got to sell it in like 10 seconds versus a whole conversation. But anyway, and I'm planning by the end of this month is my goal, to relaunch everything for August 1st.
Yeah,
Today I'm making 2 more commercials for Storytime today.
The videos that you found?
Yeah, well, one, I have a video. It's of like a grandmother with 2 kids. So it's the whole grandparent angle. And then when I was falling asleep last night, I got to look up some stock footage I want some military footage, like either somebody coming home from deployment or leaving for deployment, and just talking about that. And then maybe another one with the working late kind of theme. So
yeah, yesterday threw me for a loop. I'm completely zoned out. I need to refocus on whatever the heck that I need to do, because right now I'm just thinking in my head, like, what am I going to do today?
I could sell you a Trello template that tells you exactly what to do today.
I understand that. Yeah. If only this could work. If we'd only sold things to you and I.
I don't know. I'm trying to reinvigorate the motivation myself.
Yeah.
But all right, well, get some rest.
I will. Sorry, my
Don't,
friend. I'm not much of
Hey.
help today.
Totally understandable. Do you have to wear that sling all the time, or only when you're walking around?
For it's more so a kind of non-mental cue not to raise my hand above shoulder level.
Right.
It really doesn't do anything. It's just necessary because I can just hold my hand down. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is more so I don't raise it accidentally, especially when I sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does suck, man.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Stay
You
safe.
will.
Okay.
Bye bye.